I love when we start
All right,
recording.
guys,
and
quiet on the
Tommy
set.
leaves.
Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set.
What do you guys even talk about in this podcast? I listened to the first one, and you guys were talking about doctor shit, and like for 30 minutes, and I gotta tune the fuck out of this. I'm done.
Hey. So, Michael, I think editing this episode is going to be like editing school all in one.
Yeah, sure will.
Really gonna push us to the test.
It's gonna take
my
me
fly-
3 hours to edit this one.
Are your pants undone? What is
My fly was open. No, it's not. I fucking took a shower. And I was fucking rushing because I was trying to be on time, but apparently the ringmaster of the show doesn't even need to be on time for his own goddamn podcast. That's fine. You're 15 minutes late. No big deal. All right. It's not like we don't have schedules. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he was texting you this morning at 5
Guy acts like he
a.m.
punches in every day.
Well, I do punch in. I'm gonna ask my boss if I can smoke right now. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work later. All right.
All right. So, guys, welcome into the Cellini Rounds podcast. We're joined by a non-Cellini, but a relative nonetheless.
New dynamic.
It's Francis Ford Coppola in the bottom right square. But
Hi guys.
this is our cousin, Don Dipetta, actor, comedian. And if you couldn't tell, he's not a doctor.
I probably shouldn't smoke on this thing.
I don't care.
You do you.
No, I'm
Yeah.
better than that.
You do
I'm
you.
I'm on my patio. I've been painting my house all weekend. My house, my apartment that I can barely afford in Los Angeles. Hey, because I'm an artist. And
You've been painting it? What do you paint? The rooms or the outside? The rooms.
The roof. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to say, what are you on a ladder painting outside?
No, please.
Yeah.
You know, I just had to hold back the first thing I was going to have to cut out of this. So,
Yeah. There you go. Put that floss guy's hat on.
yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Floss Guys. If you need floss picks or floss, please go to Amazon and search floss picks, Floss Guys
Say no
for
more.
that guy flosses.
Link in the bio.
All right. So I was gonna attempt to like guide this podcast along and like talk about topics and stuff.
We're off the
Please.
rails.
But Donnie's smoking ganja in front of me.
Do you remember? Can we talk about your life and Green Street meets and things we used to do, or no? We're not
You can
allowed
talk
to
about
talk?
anything.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest.
I
nights.
wasn't there.
No, see, it was one of the greatest nights ever, dude. Just ate 10 pounds of Green Street meats, and Tommy, I dropped some off to you that night when you were on.
Yeah, I was working on the ICU that night. I was not partaking in the activities.
Me and
for the
Jim.
record.
Let me set this up a little bit better. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, apparently I got to tell the comedian how to set things up for a podcast. But
Don's first podcast.
yeah, Donnie was in town and he was opening for a headliner called, his name's Chris Stefano. You guys may have heard of him. I don't know if Michael or Tommy wants to pull up an image of Chris Stefano because I got my
Let me
hands.
get it.
I'm holding the mic right now. But Donnie bombed.
Dude, I
and-
bombed so hard that night. I ate.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I
didn't
ate
know
the
that.
biggest. Dude, I ate the biggest bag of ever. That was one of the harder ones I've ever had. It really was.
And yeah. And so Donnie,
Oh, dude, it was soaking bad.
so Donnie had
There you
to
go.
do what most people in our family do, which is eat his feelings in order to feel better. I can totally relate to this. Instead
The
of
only
bombing,
way an Italian can truly do it.
Dude,
Yeah,
I had to eat it away. I did.
yeah. So Donnie goes and picks up what, $200 worth of barbecue.
I spent my show pay on it because I didn't deserve that show pay.
Well, it was more than $3.
Okay, all right. Well, that wasn't funny. Keep going.
All right. But Donnie goes and spends an inordinate amount of money, and we proceed to eat barbecue with our shirts off, commiserating about Donnie's
It
bombing.
sounded like a porno. It just it's what it sounded like.
This reminds me of the.
Dude, I hate it. I hate
infamous,
He's off the rails.
Yeah. The History of Hyenas podcast with Tim Dillon that they put on their Patreon. They were going to sell it for $1 million. This reminds me of that.
Oh, I bet that was probably the funniest podcast ever.
Yeah, only except for the fact that we would sell it for much less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this
For any
thing
amount.
even profitable?
Well,
Not
Close it
yet.
in.
We're close.
Fuck,
We're
did
closing. We're closing in on 1,000 subs.
No shit. What do you guys
Which-
talk about? Is it just all you guys all doctor stuff? Is that what it mostly is? You
No,
people?
all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mostly,
I
it's
try
like
to-
mostly medicine themed with a mix of like finance and current events and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
just like
I-
your comedy.
Yeah. It's a mix of everything.
What is your comedy about, Don?
Now?
Yeah,
Me and my thoughts about things.
So let's backtrack a little bit here. I want to try to keep this coherent. Donnie, I want, so first walk us through. So the last 10 years of me, Michael, and Tommy's life, we've been training to be doctors and specialized doctors.
Sure.
And your path could not be more opposite
of
what we were doing.
So similar nonetheless.
Yeah.
So somewhat similar. So I want you to walk us through what made you go from like transitioning from college to like, I'm going to move to LA and try to be a comedian actor. Like what was the motivation, the thought process? Take me there.
Well, that's a big step, by the way, just to small town Kennesaw, Georgia boy to dreams of becoming an actor comedian in LA.
Yeah, I guess what happened? Well, I was chasing baseball, and so I played indie baseball for like a year, and that, and then I got cut a couple times, and I was like, all right, writing's on the wall. Maybe I don't want to share a Greyhound bus with 26 other men for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And so I got to make a change, and Pops had an apartment out here in LA, so that he was like never at, and so I had a room. And so, gratefully, and I had somewhere to stay and land on my feet. So I just moved out here, and I don't know. I thought I was going to be an agent. I thought I was going to like work in a mailroom and like work as an agent.
Really?
And then I stepped into an acting class, and the first scene I ever saw put up on an acting class, like Tuesday at 11 a.m., was two people doing a scene from Aladdin, and they like brought in a carpet and then projected the sky up on the thing, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
See, I would have had the opposite reaction. I would have gone back to Georgia and been like, "This is not for me. Like, I can't."
I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, man. I thought it was like grown. Yeah. I was like, grown people get to do this on a Tuesday at 11, and then I realized they weren't grown people; they're just stunted children. Right. And but it took me a long time to figure that out. And then I don't know, man. You chase acting, and then you do nothing, and you flounder around, and so you start to write, and then stand up starts to come out, because I grew up in a comedy club, and that's what I heard. I'm just trying to give everybody the fast story of this. Start doing stand up, then start booking some acting work, and then start, a year after year after year, you're banging your head up the wall, and then you start to get a little funnier. And now I think I'm 10. It'll be 10 years in August. God, and I really just been that long? 10 years in August, and so I've done like.
I remember you driving out there. You stayed at my place when I lived in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I did. Like, it just cut through. I drove in like a day and a half across the country. And and
man. Your friend's BMW.
Yeah.
Wait, that was 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, he drove from Atlanta to LA in like 24 hours.
And a half. Yeah, like we could have. What is it? That Cannonball Run? I wish we had done. I wish we had clocked it, because we were doing like 130 the whole way.
No,
like it's the fastest we could.
His friend had a BMW like M3 or something like that.
6 Series.
A 6 Series?
Yeah. So like you would hit 110, and you could feel the ground. You could feel it just sink lower to the ground and get like better. Dude, BMW, the ultimate.
Ready. How old are you?
22-year-old man.
Podcast brought to you by BMW.
I wish.
God, that'd be amazing.
I don't know. You're all doctors. It might happen. What?
So how old were you?
20. I think it was 23. I was 23. I was 23 years old.
Who the hell has a 6 Series at the age of 23?
I don't know. And then I don't know.
Your friend. That's it.
It was used. And then I don't know. 10 years later, I tore the country. I feel funnier than ever, and I feel like I'm finally starting to find my voice, which took like 7 years, 8 years, which is like really good. I have been in like, I don't know, it's like 40 film and television movies and television shows now, and I was just on Gaslit, which was on Stars, was Emmy nominated. I got a movie coming out with Javier Bardem at the end of the year for Sony, and I got another film coming out, and then I just sold my first feature film. So 10 years later, we've turned the corner.
I love it.
Do you feel like do you feel like it's actually like turning? Like, can you notice?
I mean, like, I think acting wise, like I work more than ever. Like, I'm in New York City every couple of months now on another TV show. Like, I was pinned for one. Michael, I thought I was going to have to come out to New York on Monday night, but they dropped me, so I didn't have to do the show. But it was me. I got pinned. They were like, "Hey, get ready," and then give me and the other guy.
We could have gotten those. We could have gotten those clams again.
Oh, buddy, from Boucherie, right? Oh man,
best clams ever.
best clams. Granted, me and Michael were also like 4 or 5 cocktails deep, so anything would have tasted good at that point.
That's true. That's true.
But those clams were the best thing I think I've ever put in my mouth. It was so good.
That was a good time. Good time.
So now
go
ahead.
So what I was going to say is this is actually somewhat similar to becoming a doctor, because you have to put in like 10 years of like grinding and getting literally nothing in terms of pay, recognition. And you oftentimes will help other people that are training you, or quote unquote training you, look better this entire time.
For sure.
Help them. And then only then do you have like a right through the passage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insane how even a career like yours and ours could be so different yet so similar. Like you always have to put in the grind.
Dude, it was so many hours and so many different things and so many. You still get no every single day, which is like, it gets considerably easy, but I feel like I'm 10 years in and I'm just starting my career, like just now starting, like, I finally get certain auditions and I've worked with certain people now, and I feel like I'm just getting started. Like I'm just starting to work consistently. So I'm right at the beginning, and I just, now I'm starting to write like the next thing. I just sold my first thing, so it's like I'm just starting.
What's been your favorite thing that you've been in or like a part of thus far?
Green Book was pretty cool. That won Best Picture a couple years ago, but we're not allowed to talk about it anymore.
It's true, you can't talk about Green Book anymore.
Yeah.
No. The fastest not aging well movie of all time.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? I still think Mahershala Ali won another Oscar, and he's like an insane powerhouse actor. And then
he's like one of the best actors
and
in the
Viggo
world.
Mortensen, if you haven't, and nobody knows, watch him in Eastern Promises and then listen to him in real life, and you're like, this is the greatest human actor I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh yeah, dude, Viggo Mortensen, he's next level.
So watching them get to work was like the coolest experience of my life, bar none. I did a video game a few years ago. I was a lead in a video game, so I got to live in San Francisco for 3.5 months, and we got to go to the Czech Republic for it. And so that was like one of the best jobs. Yeah, and that was definitely the highest paying job I've ever had. So that one was fun. So you always miss that one.
Yeah,
I want that one back.
Yeah. So basically, to sum it up here, the grind. Regardless of what you do, without sounding too much like a motivational speaker here, regardless of what you do, whatever avenue, it almost seems like that 10-year mark is what it takes, just pure grind for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then finally you can start getting your feet wet and start, branching out.
You get good at what you're doing, you get better at it. Then you're like, okay, now I can be good at this, do what I'm doing.
Night and day. Night and day. Yeah.
But it's almost like medicine is a straight line. You're like, I know I have checkpoints along the way that I have to do specifically. It's like, so I'm going straight up the line. I go here, I do residency, I get a fellowship, I become a doctor. I know all these structures because it's built into the structure. Whereas I feel like your path in like acting, comedy, writing, it's just like you do this the whole time. And then you're like, but you're slowly elevating up to the top part of that. And you're like, okay, now I'm here. But
that's exactly right.
And the difference along the way is, for our 10 years, we do nothing cool. And then for your 10 years, you did flown to Czech Republic to film a video game.
Do you want to tell me? Do you want me to tell you what's really cool? Is like you guys got
have you worked in a lab?
Got a consistent paycheck. You got a consistent paycheck. Though.
Yeah,
you guys knew you were getting paid.
That's true. That's true.
Dude,
you get to have like spontaneous trips to come out and visit us.
Okay, so granted, my life has a lot more freedom to it, but like, dude, if you have to put those fucking flights on an American Express and fucking pay them off 8 years later, it's not like.
Yeah, that's true. There are pluses and minuses to both.
It's not as free as they may be.
Yeah.
That's your version. That's your version of student debt right there,
dude. It is.
Yeah.
So. In this new show, Gaslit, do you have scenes with like Julie Roberts and Sean Penn or no?
No, I have scenes with like Chris Bauer and Shea Wiggum, which are like two like character actors who are absolutely amazing human beings. Watching them get to work was like, it was like they're like working actors. Like they just get in there and work, dude.
Did you see Sean Penn and Julia Roberts?
Yeah,
like,
I
on
met them.
set and stuff?
I went to the premiere in New York City in March. I flew in for a night, and we had the premiere at the Metropolitan Museum, which was pretty amazing. And I met Julia Roberts and Sean Penn there, and Dan Stevens. And
did they know you were in the show?
No, they had no idea. Sean and Julia had no idea. I was on the red carpet with them. We were taking a cast
I was
photo.
wondering about that.
Yeah. And I go, hi.
They're
hi,
so
I go,
above
hi,
it.
Julia. My name's Dipetta. I was an actor in the show. And she goes, nice to meet you.
Michael, mark the time. You might have to edit this.
Why would you have to edit that?
No. We're starting now. I have a question. So remember when Sean Penn held up production because of he refused to shoot because nobody was vaccinated yet?
You can't talk about this. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, what do you want to get him fired off the show?
I would like to work for that studio again.
Yeah.
Next question.
All right.
Yeah.
Next question, Your Honor.
What's a question that won't get me fired, Jimmy?
Yeah, there you go.
Jim only likes to ask questions that teeter on the edge of canceling.
Right.
No.
I want to ruin your career through questioning.
Right at the start. You want to ruin my career right as
Yeah.
Tell us. So you mentioned this a little bit when you were talking about your coming up, but tell us a little bit about your dad, our Uncle Chris's, like what he did for a living and everything.
Sure. So he owned the Punchline in Atlanta and booked comedy clubs in the 80s. He booked I think 12 or 14 clubs at once. So he would book all the talent around the country in the 80s when there was the first comedy boom, man. And he's just he's an old school, one of the guys who really helped grow the nightclub comedy business from the 80s and the 90s. And he has just broken a bunch of talent or given them their first opportunity to. Well, the website the website is garbage.
God.
Yeah, he's
40 years later, the website still looks like it's
the
made
same.
on
I
the
can
first
just say
computer ever.
I can just say he's pretty hands off now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's not coding this website.
No, he called me to ask what Zelle was today.
Oh man.
God.
Yeah. He goes, how do I do it? I go, you listen, you're gonna have to find. I really can't.
It's
walk
hard
you
to
through.
walk you through it without looking at it.
I go, go to your bank and it should say it.
Yeah.
It's good luck, dude.
I almost got him to for a hard money loan about 6 months ago for a real estate project.
Yeah, he was ready.
And I know he was ready, and then I couldn't pull the trigger at the very end because of some other aspects of the deal. But he was like, "How do I get the money to you?"
Yeah, he didn't know how.
There's many ways to do this, Uncle Chris.
Wire. You know what I mean?
Wire. You can be electric. He was talking about going to the bank and getting a cashier's check and mailing it to me and all this stuff. I was just like, you don't have to do that. You can just wire me money online.
Yeah, literally is so easy.
Oh my God.
He's like, what am I going to learn that now?
No,
When
yeah,
I'm 70 years old.
They're done. 72.
Yeah.
He's done learning.
Is he
So
72? Wow.
Yeah, Dad turned
Yeah, him
72
and Dad are the same
in a
age.
couple
Wow.
weeks.
Oh,
Or
I
a
didn't
week.
think about that.
So
I was Diamond Jim up there in
Yeah.
Cleveland, man.
Yeah, Diamond. He's
he's
coming to
hanging
visit
in
actually
there.
next weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, he's excited. I spoke to him last night, Tommy. He's like, yeah, I'm going to visit Tommy next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
good, man.
Just
Yeah.
making the rounds. Tommy, Jim, Michael, back to Jim.
It's,
So how did Uncle Chris get into the comedy? Because I never did the managing and all that stuff come after the comedy club?
yeah, after
Okay.
comedy. Yeah, so
For-
him and a bunch
well,
of
hold on.
friends. Okay.
Before you do it, so a lot of people probably don't know Uncle Chris. So it's Don's father, but it's not our real uncle technically, but his father and my dad were cousins. So, but we grew up together, so we call him our uncle.
Well, they grew up on the same block.
They
They're
grew
the
up
exact,
together.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the exact same age. They,
Yep.
they got raised together.
Did everything
They-
together.
They
their
wore
whole
each
life.
other. Yeah, they wore each other's clothes. They went to the same schools. They got in the same fights. I'm
Yeah.
sure, they did everything, and they all
Yeah.
moved. They always moved together too.
Yeah.
Yeah, always.
So they're thick as thieves.
Yeah,
forever.
they're about as close as you can get.
So
Yeah,
he's not technically our uncle by definition, but I mean, for all intents and purposes,
He's our
he's
for-
our uncle.
We
Wasn't he,
grew up
uh,
calling him Uncle Chris, so there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always
yeah. It's just
So that's
Chris.
Uncle Chris. It's Don's dad, Uncle Chris. He's been there. I mean,
forever, man.
Ever.
Like Uncle Chris has been like, as far as I remember my dad, I remember Uncle Chris.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like a combo pair.
Yeah.
Because
I remember one time he dressed up as Santa Claus when I was real little, and he came over and I sat in his lap, and I remember I just saw this black chest hair shooting up out of the Santa Claus costume. And I was like, I don't, this doesn't register as Santa Claus to me very much, but we'll just go with it. Like, why does Santa Claus have black chest hair?
The most Italian Santa Claus ever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Saint Nick.
He's got a
old Saint Nick.
Got a loose fitting white
Hilarious.
t-shirt under that costume, I'm pretty sure. Also, the two of them were like the biggest fish out of water moving to Georgia, by the way.
I think they loved it.
Can we touch on the story about why they moved to Georgia?
Sure, but I think they love Georgia.
So our dads left Cleveland because they both had hits out on them by the Cleveland Mafia.
Yeah.
What your uncle?
I thought it was the Hells
uncle,
Angels.
Well, no. So
no, that was a different
Angels,
story.
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
different.
So the Hells
Multiple
Angels,
different people after them.
yes,
Can I
but
tell
the
that?
Cleveland Mafia used the Hells Angels to carry out hits and stuff like that.
No,
and
there's a different Hell's Angels story.
Okay, well, nonetheless, the combination of Hells Angels and Cleveland Mafia. Think of like Breaking Bad, where the Nazis are in season 5,
Yeah.
and they were being used by like the meth drug dealers and stuff like that as like muscle. Same deal. It's all the same like unit of crime, but they basically had hits out on our parents, and our parents had basically, it was in their best interest to leave the city and drive down I-75.
I think that what the gangster was knocking on your dad's or your grandpa's front door looking for Jimmy, and Big Jim was like, no, he's not here. And meanwhile, they were just walking out the back. But like the mobster came and knocked on the front door to kill them. Like that's how it used to be back. Hey, like I'm here to shoot you.
Yeah.
Like open the door. Like how dumb,
open the door.
How dumb are they, dude?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we got.
I'm just here to talk.
Yeah. See, I get like, Dad talks about, and your dad too, about how like they would be at elementary school and like there'd be a car bombing in the parking lot because the mafia was trying to kill somebody's parent who was like also a made guy.
What is it? Summer of 60 something was the most bombs in the United States in the one city, like happened in the summer during Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like it's some record.
If you pull up, I pulled up the Cleveland Mafia on Wikipedia for our aunt one time, and I was just reading through between like 1960 and 1970, like the history, like what happened in the city and all these like mafia hits and stuff. And our Aunt Rondell was literally just telling me like what was going to happen the next year. Like she was sitting across the room and I'm reading, I'm like, okay, what happens in 1968 now?
Oh, that's when Jimmy Two Shoes got caught in the car.
Yeah. Aunt Rondell's great about that kind of stuff. She knows
And
timelines and people like no other.
Yeah. And she would she also won Wheel of Fortune in the 80s, by the way. It's probably
Wait, who did?
not
Aunt
Aunt Rondell.
No
She
way.
She won like yeah.
No.
Back when you won like $500 in a dresser or something like that.
Yeah.
She won Wheel of Fortune.
I wonder where the video is. I saw it like a long time ago.
That's a great story, dude. That's a great. That's so great.
But yeah, the Cleveland Mafia was a real thing, and our parents basically lived and grew up in it, and saw people getting unalived, as YouTube calls it.
Yep.
All the time. All the time.
Call it now.
Yeah,
Dude, we're gonna.
I think it's safe to say we grew up a little differently.
We're gonna lose whatever war we get into next.
Grew up a little bit differently.
Got unalived.
Unalive.
Oh
Yeah.
God. I remember there's a story of Uncle Chris, like when they're driving to like back from Athens or something like that, or they're driving to, or they're like leaving the city. And he's like, yeah, I was on the interstate and I was going the opposite direction, and like coming towards where I was the Hells Angels on a bunch of motorcycles.
So this is a different story. So this is the story. My dad, surprisingly enough, was spending some time with some woman who was apparently separated from her husband. It became winter, so her ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband was a Hells Angel, or like a friend of the Hells Angels, and he had a garage. So
spending time.
So they would store their motorcycles.
They were reading books together.
I know. Right. So they would store their motorcycles in his garage. And so when the divorce was finalized, it was the winter, and she was awarded everything in the house. So my dad goes, "These are yours now." we need to sell these. And so he sold the Hell's Angels bikes that were just in storage for the winter to some guy.
What
These
made
are
him
yours
think that
now.
was a good idea?
Come on, man. You know,
I mean,
those were
they
two
don't
different
think-
animals in the
Yeah,
70s.
Yeah.
Those were-
These are
two
yours
beasts.
now. That's
These
how
are
it
yours.
works.
Yeah, these are
He
yours.
takes it on himself to sell all the Hell's Angels
He
bikes.
sold
that
them all
are
to
parking
he
there
sold
for
them
the
all to a
winter.
guy. And so
It's not even like he sold one. He sold them all.
so he like in the spring he was down in the Keys because he spent a lot of time down in Key West doing whatever. And Uncle Jim calls him and says, hey, they showed up looking for their bikes, and you know, apparently they found one guy who here's what they knocked off a bike shop and realized that they stole their own bikes back.
Oh,
Right.
The Hell's Angels
Right,
stole their own bikes back.
Yeah.
And so then they got pissed and decided that instead of stealing from that guy, they were going to break that guy's legs or do whatever they had to find out who he bought him from, who, you know, to the next
Unalive
guy.
his legs.
Yeah. And so finally it got back that, you know, my father had sold all these things. And so the Hell's Angels put out a hit on him, and we're there and we're going to kill him, and we're looking for him in the city. Uncle Jim calls and said, hey, the Hell's Angels are looking for you. And so my dad drives back up to Cleveland for whatever reason.
yeah.
And
That's terrible.
and going through like Kentucky on 75, he sees the whole gang of Hell's Angels riding past him on 75, going the
Going
opposite
the
way.
other way. Oh man.
Unbelievable. I don't think I knew the entire extent of that story, but that's
Have you never asked your dad stories from Cleveland? I ask my dad all the time now.
I
I'm
do,
like,
but
"What
I-
is this, man?"
Yeah.
I've heard a bunch of stories over the years about, like, you know, one thing that always is funny to me is that this has to do with like me being a parent now, which is how like when we were kids, like we could like argue with our dad about like what to do, you know,
Mhm.
and like, you know, this is for dinner. I don't want that for dinner. Like, can
Yeah.
we get something else
Michael?
for dinner? Right. And like kids nowadays, they'll like argue with their
Picky
parents like,
eaters.
even more. And dad always talks about how when his dad said something, like there wasn't even the option of saying anything other than okay.
Yeah.
Like there was no discussion about anything. It was, hey, we're having pasta tonight or whatever. Okay. Like you could literally not want to eat pasta. Not that I ever wouldn't, but you could not want to eat like whatever. It could be anything.
I'm sure
that
there's
you didn't-
someone out there that doesn't want to eat
Yeah.
pasta.
Yeah.
Not
that
me.
you didn't want
Yeah.
to do, and you like if you even said a thing, it was like you're done. Like
What'd you say, boy?
right. It was
Yeah.
like, what'd you say? What? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We talking to me? There must be somebody else behind my shoulder. You know,
Well, they
that
would
sort of
just
deal.
beat you.
Right. On that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Back
could you
in those
imagine though
days.
working on like a train, like the train tracks or like the railroad all day long for 12 hours, and you come home and your kid's like, I don't want pasta, and you're
Talking
like,
back to you.
oh
Yeah.
God, you
Yeah.
blow your head off. I mean,
No,
Yeah.
I don't think that happened. That's why.
yeah.
Right.
I don't think they had to worry about that.
Yeah.
You fought in the war, and now you're working on the train in like 10-degree weather in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
You know, I would want to die at 65 too. I'd
Yeah.
have had enough.
Yeah.
I'd have
I'm
had
like,
enough.
You should
I'm
smoke
good.
those cigarettes, and they're like,
Yeah.
nah, I don't care.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm,
That's
hey,
the only piece they had.
you need
yeah.
to start skipping breakfast,
Yeah.
Grandpa Jim. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
okay.
right.
Yeah. That's why our grandpa, when he has diabetes and he had to lose his legs, and he was
Yeah.
like still sneaking stuff. He's like, what am I gonna change my diet at this point?
He
He's
used
like,
to-
Yeah.
who
In the
cares?
hospital after, I don't know if it was his leg amputation or some other procedure. I was super little. He used to have me go get him hot dogs from the cafeteria on top of like his hospital portion food.
No way.
I used to
Like
go. I used to. He
The
used to tell me,
sodium-free
go,
diet.
He'd be like, Jimmy, go get me a hot dog. Bring it up here.
Meanwhile, he had an amputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to think he used to
He
drink
needed
Slim
that.
Fast.
He's wildly unhealthy.
He had 2 legs amputated, and I remember he would come visit, and his prosthetic legs would be pushed like in the corner of the room next to his wheelchair, and I was so terrified
Yeah.
looking at prosthetic legs like in the room that I sleep in while he was staying there.
Room I sleep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean,
I met him a couple times. I was terrified of that man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Terrified.
oh, dude, you know what he used to do so he died when I was in high school. So I saw him a few times, and I have good memories of him for sure. One time when I was like, I must have been like 6, 7, maybe 8 years old. I don't know if Tommy was even born yet. But he did this thing with his dentures where he would stand in the living room, go like this, and then he would move his dentures around. His dentures would shake around in his mouth, and he would do that and just do this at me.
He just lived as terrified little kid.
I would shove my head in between the cushions of the couch and just scream, "Grandma, Grandma, save me!" and just like shove my head in there.
God.
It was so scary. And he would just laugh. He would have this bellow, just when he laughed.
Which is crazy to think though that he was like in his early 60s and he already had dentures and was like chronically ill. Yeah, it's like it's just such
he was horrendously unhealthy.
Yeah, you can do half Ironmans when you're 60s now. It's like it's a whole different world.
Dad was telling me last night.
Well, those athletes don't fight in World War II.
Yeah, that's true. That's slightly different.
Or worked in a coal mine for 12 hours
on a train yard for.
They didn't fight the Nazis. That's a different world.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, he was telling me about all the, you always hear these like terrifying stories of him, but then Dad was telling me last night that he used to be in a golfing league and he would always take Dad in the golf cart, and every single time they went golfing with he and his friends, and Dad would always drive the golf cart, even when he was like 8, 9 years old. It was like the highlight of his day. I was like, I had no idea he was a golfer. He's like, yeah, because he was saying, I was telling him that you're gonna come down here and we're gonna play golf. He's like, well, if you guys ever play golf, I'll just ride in the golf cart. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I used to do that as a kid with Grandpa. I was like, what? So here's a random story.
He said he would golf as like a high schooler, and Grandpa would be like, if he lost a ball, he would have to go search for it for like hours, because if he came home with one less ball, like Grandpa would have killed him. So he'd be like, he'd shank a drive and he'd be like, it would take me 30 minutes to find my ball. He was like, I literally couldn't come home with one less ball or I'd be dead.
One time our dads were talking about how when they were kids, they accidentally shot a rifle in their garage. They were just like getting into trouble. And then they found a gun and just decided to shoot it and like hit the wall and stuff.
Oh.
And I asked them, and they were like, yeah. And the story ended, and I go, Uncle Chris, what happened? Did Grandpa find out? And Dad and Uncle Chris looked at each other and they were like, I don't know. We probably just got a beating.
Yeah.
Just safe to assume.
And they were like, yeah, that's pretty much how everything ended back then.
And they said beating. Like they got beat. It wasn't a spank. They didn't get spanked. They got beat.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are different times.
It's like what Jim does to Beatrice all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even.
You should see it. Like Jim and his daughter are the exact opposite of how
that
Dad and Grandpa grew up. I mean, literally couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. I mean, imagine like Bee's too. She's young and she'll like, what was it? We were at dinner. She like threw half her sandwich on the ground. I mean, imagine if Dad did that when he was a kid.
Oh my God. I literally she throws her food on the ground and I'm like, pissed, internally.
Jim's like, now I can't eat it.
But then I sit, yeah.
Do you walk her through why that's not appropriate, or you just tell her that's not appropriate?
There's no explanation. But at this age, she just turned 2 years old. So all I do is sit there and let the volcano dissipate, because all it is an emotional volcano. That's like, you can't tell them no. You can't they're just going to do stuff.
They don't understand it, right? And it's
like Michael was here. Michael and Adriana were here last weekend, and they saw a little bit of she's mostly pretty good, but she has little blow ups here and there every once in a while, and you just have to let her work through it. You have to just sit there and just stay calm, and then she starts doing this. But if you don't try to escalate that, then it'll go back to oh, I'm a sweet baby now, 30 seconds later. It's when you try to jump in and grab her hand and say, no, don't do that, and move her away real quick, total meltdown, and you're in it for the next 15 minutes in that case. It's just like an animal.
Yeah.
It really is.
Just like what Donna experiences on a daily
basis. It's the same thing as a puppy or an untrained dog.
Yeah.
To a large extent, when you're holding them at work, I mean, I just assume that you know what I'm talking about. But when you're trying to restrain them at work to give them a shot or something, you just have to go slow and just coax them. And if you go in there and try to grab them like that, then it's not going to work.
Put them in a rear naked choke.
Rear naked choke.
Which reminds me of another funny story when one of I think Uncle Vince.
God, we
asked
can't
me
go on
one-
to all these family
No,
stories
I
all
can't.
day.
Yeah, we can't do that. There were other questions.
right.
And by the way,
Yeah.
Jim is a veterinarian of neurology.
That's
Is that one?
true.
Yeah.
Well, this is
Anybody
this
who
is
didn't
actually
know.
this is relevant to vet med. So Uncle Vince asked me one time at Christmas Eve. He goes, "How much is an MRI on a dog?" And I said it's about $3,000. And he looked over at Dad and he goes, "Our old man wouldn't pay that for us." I thought that was hilarious.
No.
$3,000.
Oh man,
For us. Oh,
that's
God.
so true though.
No, yeah, that's so true.
I'm gonna need that MRI. And inflation was great today, so
Dude, 9-1. It's
Yeah.
higher than that.
that's a
It's
record.
higher than that. Yeah, of
All
course
right.
it is.
All right,
That's insane.
Dude,
9.1.
Yeah, I mean,
But for those of you that don't know what Michael's talking about, CPI data came out today that shows inflation is much higher than economists predicted it would be.
yeah,
today.
but then the White House came out with a statement, but we've lowered gas prices consecutively over the last 30 days. And you're like, dude,
What the heck does that mean?
It's $7.19 a block from me. So
That's
Yeah.
just it's $7 now.
Jeez.
$7.19.
Weren't you guys up to like
Oh,
$9?
my.
$9?
Yeah, I think they got up to like 8. Somebody got up to 8 too, but it's like it's not even. I mean, it's ridiculous. A barrel of oil costs less than it did in 2012, dude. We're just getting
Yeah.
price gouged now.
Yeah,
You
I
look
mean,
at
it's-
airlines. You look at everybody. You're gonna get me down
Yeah.
this road about corporations?
It's crazy because
That's what we brought you on for.
before all this, like these crazy inflation numbers and like the 8s and stuff went on. When was I in Spain 2 months ago,
Yeah.
or give or take. But I went to Majorca on the island, and the gas was like $8 a gallon there, and I was like, oh, this is just what it is here because it's an island out in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's can't import too much oil here. It's hard to do. It's probably why it's so expensive. And I'm like, good thing the US would never have $8 a gallon. And then like fast forward 2 months later, it's like $7 to $8 a gallon. I was like, geez. Because I remember I filled up like a quarter of a tank. It was a rental car, and I had a little Mini Cooper. I filled up like a quarter of a tank, and it was like $46 or something. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh my
there's no
God.
way. Yeah.
Brutal.
I
Dude, we
know.
got up to like 650, something like that, 670 here, like the BP by my house. I went to go fill up half a tank in my Honda Fit, which is like 8 gallons when it's on E or something like that.
Big thing. A little
And it
lawnmower.
was like,
Oof.
Pokemon
like
of cars.
yeah, it was like $40. Thank God I'm getting married. I don't have to worry about that car doing any legwork
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, she
I can't
married
believe
you when
I
you had a
can't-
Honda Fit.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can't believe she said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
We
just
were
goes to show your car doesn't matter. Tommy got married driving a
Yeah.
2004
If
orange.
I can do
Honda
it with
you
an
guys-
orange Honda Fit, anyone can do it now.
Do you ever find do you ever censor yourself when you're making jokes now or saying jokes on stage? Or
I think that's a really interesting question. I think at the level that I'm at, I still have to. It's never been, I think, harder to do what we're trying to do, but I also think like it's never been more like that's okay because it's challenging and it makes you elevate whatever it is that you're trying to write because you have to be super specific about every single word and like the
Right.
word placement of everything.
Right.
You know,
like
I
you
think
can, you
Go
can
ahead.
get away with it. You just have to be more creative.
yeah, but I also think you have to be. You certainly do. You have to approach it from the right angle. It has to be very well thought, very well researched. It has to be layered. Like first thought thing is always the shit that gets you in trouble. Like first thoughts and like low hanging fruit are just like the
Yeah.
absolute worst when it comes to jokes. Like it's just bad now, and like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the craft and things that take no thought or things that are right there. Like if you want to attack a subject that you know is going to make people groan, like you have to be so nuanced and technical about the way that you do it, like, and then make it seem casual enough for people to enjoy and understand. Like it takes a lot of skill. What really high, what stand-ups are doing. If they're
So
doing
if
well.
you have an idea and you come
Yeah.
up with a joke and it's like, what comes to your head,
Yeah.
do you sometimes not even trust yourself because it's the first thing and you're worried that it's low hanging fruit?
I don't know. Sometimes jokes come out like fully formed. I
Yeah.
think I've trained myself enough now where I don't really go after that kind of stuff, and like I stay away from a lot of like what's
Politics.
not so much politics, but just what's like current in the thing and stuff like that, or like there's going to be a joke about the thing that happened today for the next 2 weeks. Everybody going to talk about it, and then it burns out. So it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to attack stuff that's like that can sustain.
A
for a while.
longer lasting.
Yeah.
Don't be like a Tonight Show monologue where
No.
it's just like current
How do
event.
those shows? How are they still on?
You know, our parents are still alive.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's how.
That's why there's
I
an
mean,
entire
that's the
Wednesday
long
night
of the
on
short.
CBS.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the long and
dedicated
the
to
short of it.
Chicago.
Look who runs the country. It's literally nothing but people that like sit in a chair in their living room, and Jimmy Fallon says something, and they go, "Oh,
Yeah, I was
look at
just I was just in Tampa, and I just spoke to a lovely couple, like in their 70s, man, and they asked me how things were going and how I'm doing, and I told them honestly, I was like, you know, things aren't the best right now. They're truly not, and like they can't comprehend because they've never had to live in that country. Like our parents, you know, even like the 10, 15, 20 years before them, like right after the war, got the best of America, man, and do not have the issue. Like as many problems as there were, for as much social unrest and, you know, as much change that was going on, everything was trending, I think, in a positive direction for the most part. And we don't have that. Each year is worse now. Like it's a down, and it's a clear downtick.
Yeah.
As
They
before
also
it was going up.
They also had
See, I have
the
a-
ignorance is bliss kind of mindset, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything that was going on. They didn't have access
Right.
to anything that was going on in the neighborhood nearby to them, much less California compared to Georgia, you know.
Right. You know,
See, that kind of gets to what I think is going on. I think that there's two things. Everybody knows everything that's going on in the world right now all at
too
once.
much. Yeah.
And we're not supposed to know that. Like, at least from like, you know, technology's outpaced what we can deal with evolutionarily.
Yes.
And
100%.
so I think if you raise the sensitivity of any diagnostic test, you're going to get more positive hits, meaning we now have a less specific, more sensitive way of like looking at the world. We see everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're just bombarded. So we perceive the whole world to be going to shit. But like the Black Plague happened 900 years ago, and that killed 2/3 of the population.
Right.
Like that. I mean, can you even fathom something like that?
Yeah. I mean, imagine if we had social media during World War II. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, I
It would
mean,
be brutal.
yeah, but that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, we just see too much that we're not supposed to see, you know,
Yeah.
and it's better to be just ignorant to everything that's going on, but now we're not.
Yeah, look, I think there's a balance, and I think people have to, you know, they have to be able to reason and you know, take the time. Look, I think if people took the time to like really understand what was going on, it'd be a different conversation. But when you just throw 15 headlines at somebody and that's all they do, it's just first thought shit. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's clickbaity society.
Clickbait, first thought, society, man.
Yeah. We were talking about that. We were talking about that recently, how like these news sources like CNN and all these other, you know, New York Times, everything, it's purely just like clickbait. These headlines are just so ridiculous just to get a view.
Think about the amount of like outlets they have to fight to even get viewers anymore. And you got to remember, like, it's all television and ratings. They're fighting for ad space. That's it.
Yeah.
The news is not I mean, it's a television program fighting for ad space.
It's
So
like a bunch
clickbait.
of newborn chicks fighting for the food from their mom.
Yeah.
With their mouths open.
Yeah. And like
Every now and then one gets pushed out of the nest.
Right. And if they don't feed, they die.
I was just looking this up while you guys were talking. The Black Death, the bubonic plague. Donnie, if you had to guess, how many people did the bubonic plague kill?
200 million.
You're actually right. It was 200 million.
No, it wasn't. 200 million?
It was, yeah. According to Wikipedia.
Did you know that going into that question, Don?
I knew that when he asked it. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I know a lot about
Don's has closet knowledge.
Yeah.
You know,
closet knowledge. Hold on. Hold on. Closet knowledge. Yeah.
Don's a curious mind. That's
So I don't know if you can see, but like, so this is like the ring of my living room. So it's all
you are such a single man in LA. It's not even funny.
I know. And then dude, it's all books.
Let me guess. Do you have a shoe closet?
What? It's just all.
You have
books
a shoe
everywhere.
closet?
No. I
Nothing
have
on the walls. Books on the roof.
That's not true. I have some more.
I mean, this is that's what I liked about Don, though. He just throws out, like, 200 million, of course. Everybody knows that. I
got curious about it one time, so I deep dove it and I learned about it.
I mean, it's my job.
Yeah.
Job is to know shit, dude.
So I was in a period piece about the bubonic plague. I was a father caring for a child.
You should write a character. You're a comedian, a stand-up act during the bubonic plague, and see if you can like make people laugh.
No.
I actually didn't know it was 200 million because 200 million is, I mean,
It's a lot of people.
that's
It was-
insane.
It was
Two-thirds
1/3 of the
population of
Europe
America.
continent.
Whew.
1/3 of the entire continent died.
1 in 3.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
talked about being afraid of going outside versus like having a lockdown for COVID. Ooh, man.
People complain about those masks. You remember those long beak things? People
Yeah.
would have to wear
Yeah.
them. You imagine walking around in those?
I mean, they were like made of like wool and stuff too.
Yeah.
What was that?
And it's
was that
so hot.
an attempt to be like a respirator? Is that what that was for?
I don't know
I
why
don't
the
know.
beak was. I'm sure they had some ridiculous reasoning for it.
They probably thought it was like more separation of like the air to get to you. Or
Yeah,
something.
you're
I
right.
don't
Yeah, the
know,
air
you
can
know?
just percolate through.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
knows?
is that? Those little doctor.
Who
You
knows?
got a picture of that mask, Tommy? Pull that up.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Pull that up, young Jamie.
I got it.
Well, that's
Jesus.
Dude,
Yeah, the
people used
old-
to be terrifying.
Yeah, I mean
I
that
know.
is so scary.
People used to be terrible. You imagine that walking down the cobblestone street?
I was just gonna say
Dude,
click clack on the cobblestone coming towards you
Yeah.
to like,
at night.
but it's like a doctor, so they do that like they have to like get real close, like look at you and examine you.
Yeah.
So, funny enough, we were
God.
talking about Cleveland, and I was actually doing some research about Cleveland, like the 50s and 60s. What decade was it? Like one of the biggest, like the biggest mass murderers, like a Jack the Ripper type, was like he would kill prostitutes and like literally dismember them and like cut them in half in Cleveland. Like there was a guy that did that for like
Seriously?
years and years and years in Cleveland.
years and years.
Yeah, man,
God,
dude, never found.
are you
What?
serious?
Yeah,
They never found them?
Oh my
Wow.
god.
What era? That was around when our parents were there?
God, I have the book. I have the book in there. I could look it up, but
I mean,
It's
You have
like
one of
a-
those rolling ladders that you move around your living rooms.
I have to get on a chair. Thank you very much, because I'm not tall.
It's like John
Hold
Wayne
on.
Gacy here in Chicago. They had a bunch of
Yeah.
like those around Caitlin's family and stuff. She was like, "Yeah, I knew. I had a friend that was murdered by him and stuff like that." And it was like,
I have
Oh my
friends.
God.
I have friends that just uncovered this big. It's going to be a big murder doc that they're going to start working on soon.
Really?
It's going to blow the tops off everything. It's
Really?
the craziest. It's the craziest I've ever heard.
can you tell us what it like?
No,
the
not a thing.
murder. No, okay. All
Yes.
right.
So
Is it
you
going to be a
think
Netflix documentary or a
They'll
miniseries?
sell it to like HBO or something like that. It's that big. It's a.
I was
big
gonna
one.
say that sounds like Netflix style, right there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it.
Is that the goal? When you're thinking about like writing these movies, I mean, I know you do different types of movies. and
I
stuff, but
I just did something with Netflix.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, just
Is-
they EP'd a film that I produced in a short.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So is the goal like when you're, because I'm so unfamiliar with this industry. So is the goal like when you create a movie or write a movie, direct it, film it, and get it all tidy, then do you just go like, shopping to different
Yeah,
what do you call 'em?
if you're doing like an independently studio or like a distribution
studio?
company.
Yeah, studio is the word I was looking.
If you're gonna do the independent route, like if you're gonna independently finance a feature film without distribution, yeah, that's what you do. Having done it now, like I won't ever do it again. Like I don't think I'll ever do it again. It was insane. The thing,
Really?
what we were able to do, what we were able to pull off, it's nearly impossible. Like, and I'm not just saying that. Like we did it out of sheer ignorance and will.
Yeah.
Is the only reason that thing got made, man.
Yeah, but that's the best way you learn though.
Yeah, 100%. It was the best experience of my entire life, and I never want to do it again.
So that's funny. So do you so when you have the movie all tidied up, a nice
Yeah.
little package, and your little reel, and does your agent call like the
Reel.
guys at Netflix or like
No,
the
so it depends on who you go
guys
to.
or
There's-
girls at Netflix? I mean,
No,
who-
there's sales agents that you can go through. There's like, we had somebody like at a management company, like kind of like champion our film and like, show it to a few people. And then like, there are different producers that have different connections, and it's all relationships and connections, man. That's all it is.
Gotcha,
And then meetings,
really.
and they screen it and they tell you whether or not they're into it.
so
You have to
technically
have to. Oh, sorry, Michael.
you could have like a masterpiece, but you have no way of like getting it in front of people. Is that a problem?
I mean, if it's a masterpiece, people are going to buy it because everything is shit.
but like say I'm not connected at all, right? So I have no connections in that industry whatsoever.
Yeah.
If I decided to like sit in my home and just
Mhm.
learn how to do it, I mean, this is obviously hypothetical. If I just decided to film a movie, an incredible
Really, I
masterpiece-
wasn't clear about that, Mike.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I
I
locked
thought for a
myself in my
second that
room.
you might consider writing a masterpiece.
Yeah. I locked myself in my room for 3 years, figured out a perfect script, produced this thing, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, where do I go from here? What would you like? How's
First
it
of
even
all,
work?
okay. First of all, you write a script miraculously. Good,
Uh-huh.
good for you. Um,
Thank you.
good for you. That seems like a lot less effort than it is.
Yeah. Just on a weekend.
How are you
It's
gonna
easy,
produce
right?
it?
You just
How are
type
you
it
gonna
up.
how are you gonna shoot it?
Don, this is all theoretical. I'm saying
Yeah.
if I have the final package
And okay, sure, you have a movie, totally.
and no connections, because I'm sure there are some like indie film artists who like
Yeah.
lock themselves in the room
You
and
submit it. You submit it to film festivals, and if
Okay,
it's
that's
good, it
what
will
you
be
do.
seen
Okay.
at film festivals, and sales agents go to film festivals.
and then
stuff.
they'll be like, oh my god, this guy's onto something.
Yeah, we went to a film festival and people saw it, and then we got a ton of reviews on it, and it reviewed really well. So
Like if
Gotcha.
something's good and someone who knows what's going on sees it and they're like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like they're
They're
not
buying
gonna just be like, all right, see you later.
No,
over to
people
VC.
bid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they want that because they know other people are going to want to see that.
yeah,
I
So it's like if you have a masterpiece, like as long as eyes
I do.
see it at some point, yeah, which Michael has apparently.
okay,
See it at some point, like it's going to like get
okay,
bigger.
Scorsese. Okay,
Yeah. I just got the next Goodfellas rolling around.
yeah, that movie would never be made today. Never.
Yeah.
How
Never.
long does it take to like write a script like Goodfellas or like any of those?
I don't know. People write scripts in.
I mean, is it like a year?
First
Really?
draft. It depends. Like probably like notes and drafts and all those things. Like 6 months to a year is probably an average.
Jeez.
Don, I
3
have a
months.
question.
3 months if people are motoring. Yeah. What's up?
Since you're behind the scenes and you see how the sausage is made with comedy and movies and stuff and TV,
Mhm. Yep.
are you able to watch and consume those things now? Like you
Some
did before?
certain shows I can. Some certain shows I can like turn off. You know what I mean? Like turn off my brain, but other things no. Like I'll watch
Right.
movies now, and I watch movies like for work. Like I break down everything. Like I'm constantly looking at story structure and how they set things up and how things get paid off.
It's like a coach
Constantly.
watching film.
Oh, I can predict what's going to happen, and like I can like start now. I can start to feel when the next thing's coming, when the
Right.
next
Like,
thing will be.
Each set, each run through everything, you're like, I know what's going on here.
On
when I go do
films, yeah,
this.
but like with stand-up now, stand-up's to the point where like I know what joke I'm telling it, and now I can like mess with words and turn up dials, and I can like see the whole crowd, and I know where I want to go next, or like how I want to say this next joke, or like where I want to stand, or how I'm putting my body. Like now it's all like turning levers and being technical about shit. Yeah.
Do you think like the vast majority of stand-up acts that you're either on shows with or whatnot are completely terrible or no?
No,
Really?
not the ones that I go out with. No,
Yeah.
no.
Are you just saying that because you want to keep working?
No, I mean, like I work with a few guys, and they're all really wonderful, and they're great, and they're really talented, and they're super funny.
Yeah.
But there are some people, look, there's a lot in this industry that's not for me. But I'm not
You
gonna
see,
say it.
like the people on Netflix,
It's
you
not
see,
for
and you're
me.
like, oh, nah, yeah, not my
I'm-
cup of tea.
Look, man, Netflix throws so much money at people, man. I wouldn't say no if they were like, hey, we need this in 3 months, and you're like, well, I only have 20 minutes right now. Like it takes like I don't know, it takes some guys are faster, but on average a year, maybe more, to like write something like that really well. And so a lot of people just cram them out. Or like, if I'm making $10 million to do that special, guess what, man? If I don't have the time, I'm gonna fill it.
Yeah.
And say what you will. It could be
Yeah.
absolute shit, but I got paid $10 million. So
It's
fuck you.
insane to me the money that is lying in potential for your industry, comedy, acting, whatever.
Yeah, it just takes a while to get to. It's like it's like being a doctor. I guess you make your set amount.
No,
of
it ain't
salary.
like being a doctor.
Well, no, I like
It
my
sounds
listen.
like that.
Yeah, but like at the end, like Tommy was saying, at the end of your runway, like where your target is and what you're gonna hit, and you're gonna be okay. Like me, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be okay. There's
That's
a
the
big
trade-off.
fucking difference. Yeah.
That's
I
the
guess that's true
trade-off.
why people keep working like years and years and years. They'll be like 60, still putting out specials, and it's like you still have that mentality. You're like, hey man, this could all be taken away next week.
Dude,
somehow.
I can lose it all, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
if
it's
you're
still
working. Yeah.
I mean, it's the risk you're willing to take, but I mean, it's still a lot of those like TV actors who, I mean, may not be like the main character or protagonist.
Make a great living.
I like that. I know
Yeah.
some.
That's it. Nice.
Film
Use the
terms.
word.
Nailed it. Did you go to film school? I couldn't tell.
But you know what I'm saying. So
I don't
my
even
point of
get
that is
Are
I
you,
was
are
being
you pumped
stupid.
because you said the word protagonist?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think I've ever used that in
Okay.
a sentence before. So my point was, you have a lot of these actors who are like, they just go from like these B sitcoms and they're like in the background of every show, but they're not like the top actors or whatever, and they make a great living doing it.
Yeah.
But it's a grind, right?
Just a working actor, just being a grind, man.
Yeah, but so I mean, that's not a bad gig.
No, it's not a bad gig. I mean, it's a lot more freedoms. You get to do what you want. I think you're doing what you love. Like I would consider myself like a working character actor now, trying to like build up and just get bigger stuff. But it's just a grind, man. It's a blue collar job.
Yeah, I guess it's annoying if the show just canceled, then you have to find another one, they start all over, and it's like constant.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that could go wrong to ruin what you're doing.
For sure.
That are completely out of your control
every day.
Yeah.
So I can control what I control. I control my routine. But
the thing is, within your line of work, the ceiling is seemingly endless.
Yeah, I can make a lot more money than you guys can.
I'd say so.
And smoke weed and come visit you whenever the fuck I want.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So, Jim, did you get that thing I sent you?
The link about the charcuterie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't put that up? I mean, that's
All right,
pertinent to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what are we talking about?
We'll see. John, you'll stay tuned, Don.
I'm ready for it.
It's a current event. We have to get a little medical, while you're on.
Oh, cool.
It's the Cellini and Dipetta family worst nightmare.
Yeah.
The worst nightmare has arrived. We cannot eat meat anymore. Well, at least not.
Okay.
At least not charcuteries.
But what?
No.
Listen, what doesn't give you cancer at this point? Okay, listen, I'm just gonna be one big polyp when I'm 70 years old, and I don't give a shit. All right, like I'm gonna eat my fucking charcuterie. I'm gonna have no legs like fucking Big Jim. I got my fucking deli meat hanging out of the side of my mouth, and you know what? The quality of my life for the first 70 years of my life will be better than theirs. Okay, and what do we care about the last 10? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
For the last 3, I'm pissing and shitting on myself. So what are we?
Yeah.
Like, I gotta eat soft foods and go to bed at 6. All right.
No charcuterie for you.
Yeah.
No charcuterie.
One big polyp.
Yeah, people are like, it takes 10 years off your life. It's like, okay, so
You
I
like
live
that?
to 85 instead of 95. Like, what? Like,
I know.
Yeah.
What are we
Wait, so
doing?
go back to the article, Jim. You didn't finish.
all right, sorry.
You like
I mean,
that medical term, Michael? Polyp, baby.
Yeah.
I did.
It
That was
impressive.
good.
Yeah.
That was good.
I'm just must have been in one of your books.
And it's very pertinent to the colon cancer we're talking about here. So that was equally as good.
Yeah. So apparently,
Did
if
give
you
colon cancer.
if you consume charcuterie on a regular basis, let's see, and there was a connection between the nitrates found in processed meats, hams, and sausages and developing colon cancer.
Yeah.
Which this
The
is
higher
all I saw
exposure to these
Grandpa ever eat.
compounds- Yeah,
Listen,
the higher the
take-
exposure to these compounds, the greater risk for colorectal cancer in the population. So France is looking at what were they looking at? Like removing these process.
Yeah, they want
The
to
nitrate.
reduce the use of nitrites used as food additives and recommend limiting as much as possible the addition to foodstuffs. The aim is
how
to
did
limit
we
their
do-
use as strictly necessary.
Do we even need it? Like, how do we used to store? Like, we've been drying storing meats for how long? Do we even read them?
A long time.
Yeah,
That's what it's like.
Long
time.
Yeah. Because most of the time you just wrap it hanging up in like your house or
Cloth,
something,
whatever,
and it
yeah.
just you get the fungus on it, and then it cures it that way. You're not actually putting like nitrite salts on there.
Yeah, I mean that's like the chemical way of preventing bacterial growth.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
it's a way of curing the meat and preventing bacterial growth, but it obviously has some negative consequences there.
Yeah, it turns out you can't pour chemicals on meat.
yeah have them be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
So you
imagine
can,
that.
there's still a way to have fermented and cured meats that just don't have nitrites in
Yeah.
there as well.
I'm sure there is.
Do they put
I
that
guess
in
so.
wine too? Do they put that in wine?
I don't
Sometimes.
think so.
I think yeah.
Some
Not good
I
Italian
think-
wine.
Not
yeah.
Italian wine. No, the wine in Italy was it's so different. I loved it in Italy.
Tremendous.
I do not like it either.
Is it what do they put in white? Tommy, are you looking that up? Is it nitrites or nitrates?
Nitrates, which are converted to nitrite by bacteria in our mouths. Red wine contains it. So I don't know if it's like
Don's basically a doctor.
yeah.
I mean, he's calling polyps. He's talking about nitrates in
I
wine.
actually don't know.
Yeah, what do you guys talk about doctor stuff? You can do it. No, I'll pretend that I know what you're saying.
What the? Oh, let's see what Tommy has.
What does wine have?
So nitrates, not nitrites. So there's sulfite. Sulfites is what I was looking at.
Yeah,
Thinking
I
of.
think it's
Because that's what causes like hangovers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Food
But not.
preservatives.
I mean, I'll take a hangover. I would prefer not to have colon cancer, however.
Yeah. I'd
So it
much
is
rather have a
added to
hangover.
wines, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's what, like, when people on TikTok talk about, like, they'll go to Italy or something, eat bread the whole time, bread and wine, and they're like, I don't feel bloated or like fat or gross.
Well,
And they're like, but if I do it here in America, they're like, I put on like 25 pounds from eating pasta. And I was like, it has to do with the preservatives that are on the food, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah.
big
I don't know.
pharma.
I definitely felt like I gained 20 pounds in Italy over 2 weeks. I don't know what that person's talking about. I ate nothing but pasta for
I
2
think
weeks straight.
I'm thinking about going back. I think I'm gonna go to Italy and Greece here for like a month.
When?
What
When?
part?
I'm just gonna take off and go. I think it might like it's cheap, it's pretty cheap to like stay for longer periods of time in those places. So I think I'm just gonna go to Tuscany, some little city in Tuscany somewhere for a while, hang out, drink wine, read books, write,
Why don't you go to Siena?
drop off the grid. I mean, I could for sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you check
No.
with HR.
Can I go? I'm okay.
Put in the
Yeah,
request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
just-
got enough
there-
PTO, as it
There's
turns
some
out.
good there's some good little like villages over there off the beaten path in Tuscany.
Yeah, man. There's some.
I mean,
some
like
great ones.
legit.
Yeah.
Find some stand-up venues to go
No,
do some
I won't-
stand-up.
I won't be doing any of that. I'll be reading
No?
and writing, drinking wine and walking barefoot. And, that's it, man.
Jeez.
My eat, pray, love.
You're
That's what I'm gonna
treating
go
Eat,
God.
pray, love.
Man,
Well, I
treating
mean-
Italy like your own personal Joshua tree.
Yeah, why not?
I
Business.
guess.
man, that's
yeah.
the life. Get a little Vespa, go around.
Yeah.
Have little espressos that are that big every morning.
I will love it. And I'll read the paper or my book or whatever I'm doing. Or jot
Find
shit down.
yourself an Italian lover.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm single. That's why,
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
that's this guy's
Do you
living a
ever-
movie over here.
Do you-
Be
I
like,
won't.
yeah.
Speaking of movies,
He's
It's
gonna
weird.
write a he's gonna write a movie. It's gonna be his life. He doesn't even realize it.
I got to tell you what, though, it's nice being able to just be like, do I have any obligations? No. Okay, I can leave.
Yeah.
Super nice.
That is not having to rifle through all the issues in your head
No.
like before you make a decision. Be like, do I have to do all these things before I did that? And you're like,
so you can I mean you can
detriment.
absolutely just like take a month off and just go and sit somewhere.
Michael, didn't you or Tommy or Jimmy call me and say like, "Hey, we're all in Chicago," and I go, "I'll be there tomorrow."
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
That was a great.
I
few
think that's
days.
happened multiple
Yeah.
times actually.
I
It's a
man,
lot of
I
fun.
show up anywhere.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm the easiest.
Yeah.
I've flown home I flew home to Atlanta for a baseball game with my buddies for one night. I landed
That's
on Friday
hilarious.
evening, went to the fucking game, drank all night, went straight back to the airport.
You're like, why
That's
not?
hilarious.
Well,
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
why not?
Yeah, one
Yeah.
life. That's one thing about Don is I mean he'll if you say there's something going on, regardless of where in the US it is,
Doesn't matter.
he'll show up as long as there's a flight.
It's a
he
flight,
will.
dude.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? And I'm truly the most efficient, like traveler ever now, man. I have
I bet.
everything timed out all the time. I spend no time in any of the and I don't even wait anymore. I'm like, boom, straight to the gate on the plane.
Oh, I
It's
bet.
like
I mean,
seamless.
the most recent story when we had Easter over at my father-in-law's house, and Don was coming up for the week to shoot. What were you shooting? What TV show was that?
The last one I did,
That was it was the
the one with-
Equalizer.
Yeah, the one with Queen Latifah that
Yeah, it
beat
was
you
the
up.
Equalizer. Yeah.
yeah Equalizer.
Yeah,
So
it
he
was the
came
last
up
one.
to film that show, and he came in Sunday afternoon, and I think it was in JFK.
I think that was for the premiere. Was I in town for the premiere for that one? Equalizer.
Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was in
you were
town
in
for the
town for a
premiere.
premiere because I couldn't
Yeah.
go to premiere because I was on call.
I asked you. To, it
Yeah,
was
I know.
fun.
Unfortunately, he came in town for the premiere on Sunday afternoon, and then my dad was in town, and we were also at my father-in-law's having like Easter brunch, and he flew into JFK, and their house is in Queens, and it's not too far away from JFK. Don came over for a nice little Easter dinner, a little lamb,
I
and
did.
went back to the city.
It was great.
Roasted lamb.
Your father-in-law is great, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's nice. He's
Oh,
awesome.
he's a cool
awesome.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he
You
is.
see Uncle Jim. It was nice, man.
Yeah, it's
Donnie,
nice.
I wanted to show you this guy on TikTok. This is one of my favorite accounts.
Ah, this
I
guy.
love this guy.
Oh, yeah.
I love this guy.
Watch
He's-
this guy.
Ugh,
Look at that. He says, "Take your colon cancer and here, eat this."
shove it.
Here's the nitrites, all the nitrites you want.
Listen, I
Yeah.
gotta be honest. I hate Instagram because all it is ass and steak now.
Yeah.
Yep.
For whatever reason, that's just what Instagram
true.
is. And
Yeah.
I hate it, but I love watching people just cut meats.
Dude,
Like,
this guy
for
is
whatever
I
reason.
know.
next level.
Dude, look at the dry pasta behind it. First of all,
Oh,
Oh,
And that
No, how
cheese
about this
hanging out.
loaf of bread?
yeah.
His
Look at
bread
this.
is always his bread is always
soft it is
perfect.
inside.
I know.
I like
Little
So that
focaccia.
crust too is
Wow.
it's perfect.
Wow.
He does
Oh.
one. He does one with like mortadella and stracciatella and
This
with like
man.
pesto, and
Look at
it's
this.
otherworldly.
This man.
I mean, that's a lot of meat.
Look at this. He said
Little
the
parm.
parmesan, a slice it right up.
Wow, this is a dry sandwich.
That is a
Very
great sandwich.
This
Maybe we'll put some. I don't even know what I'll put on that.
is-
That is the driest sandwich anybody can
this
have.
is-
The Sahara getting out of that thing, Jesus.
Doesn't this look like something Grandpa would eat like every day?
100%.
What is that?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
It's an
Yeah, a little-
eggplant.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
Eggplant?
that's eggplant, yeah.
Okay, a
Eggplant
little
olive oil?
moisture. So,
Yeah.
come on, you got to give me something. Put
There you
something
go.
else on this. No,
No, he
Dude,
said
look at the
yes.
No,
hanging-
it's just dry as shit.
Dude, he'll do
He's-
the like or like fresh mozzarella. Oh god, I can watch it.
All right, dude.
That's it.
Dude, I bet that sandwich is so good, man.
Yeah, where
I
does
would
where does that guy work? I want to do it. Is he?
I'm trying to figure
Sure,
it
he's
out. I
in
can't
Italy,
tell.
right?
He's in Italy at a little
Yeah.
sandwich shop. Sometimes he'll turn the camera around and it's this tiny little like
Hole in the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
hole in the
Like
wall.
bodega style, like place.
Whenever I'm treating myself, I'll go to Nancy Silverton's place here in LA.
Oh,
yeah.
do you
Yeah,
really?
She's the
Is
greatest.
it matzah?
So let me but let me tell you, during the pandemic, when restaurants first started opening, she has 3 restaurants. She has an entire block. She has a pizza
Yeah.
shop, like a hearty Italian, and then like a high-end Italian.
Right.
They combined all 3 restaurants and the menus into one, so you could go to any of the 3, like in the
ooh,
courtyard area and outside areas, and it was the whole menu of everything.
I didn't know.
yeah.
I didn't know you lived that close
Oh.
to her restaurants.
Yeah, man. Anytime like
Oh
I want
my
to go out or I
God.
have a night, like I'll look immediately on like Open Table, see if they have any spots at her place, and I'll go to one of them. It's
man.
she's the greatest, dude.
Jeez.
She's the greatest.
what's her place? Is it you said Matza, Jim?
Matzah.
Matzo.
Yeah.
I've heard of that place.
She makes some of the best. Here, I'm going to pull it up right now.
The best. She's a
okay.
bread. She makes the best bread.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
bread,
she
right?
makes-
She makes the best bread, and then like the best pastas, and she crushes,
Sheesh.
man. She crushes food. If you guys ever come out
she's-
to LA, but no one ever does because nobody ever comes visit me, I have to go see everybody else, you fucking pricks. If anybody
Dude.
ever comes out to the West Coast, we'll go. No one's
It
ever
is.
going to come out here and visit me,
Oof.
so I don't have to worry about that.
No, that's not true
Dude.
because I always talk about it, and Adriano always wants to go too.
Yeah, and then you never fucking come.
Yeah, but it's just you know how hard it is to find a.
no, I don't.
Yeah, I know you don't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
This is why you always
I go,
come
why
over
can't
here.
nobody just come? I go, what's
Yeah.
the problem?
Yeah.
Just leave work.
I will have you know, there will be a few occasions in my life where I will call everybody to the table, where I'll be like, well, you don't have a choice because I've shown up for every single person.
Yeah. There
So
you
now
go.
you
Man,
have to
that's
come.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, I don't care. You have to
And,
come.
and I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
all right, you're right.
All
Yeah.
right, fair enough.
It is what
Yeah.
it is. Fair enough.
As long as it's not during the week or you get
No.
some ample notice. Yeah.
Well, maybe we do Tommy's bachelor party in LA and we go to the Comedy Store and stuff.
Oh yeah.
We can do whatever you want to do,
That'd
man.
actually be fun.
I
think-
don't mind traveling to bachelor parties as long as it's like not Vegas, man.
I
'cause
think
unless
Jim wants Tommy's bachelor party more than he does.
Yeah.
I do.
Jim keeps asking me. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't even thought about it yet. He's like, what are you gonna do? Where are we
I
going?
did it. I did it.
Jim's like, let me give you some options I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, LA's a great city, man. There's
For
plenty of
you.
stuff to do, and there's great restaurants. Like there
Yeah.
really is.
All right, so you guys want to wrap this up? We've been going for an
Yeah,
hour.
let's wrap it up. Yeah.
oh
let's wrap it
wow,
up.
we talked about nothing.
We
Yeah,
talked
cool.
about
that's what we do.
literally nothing.
You guys didn't talk about we didn't talk about anything medical other than the nitrates.
I mean,
I
we
mean,
tried to bring it, but we were just chatting about so much other stuff.
Sometimes we'll skip right over medical stuff and we'll like
Yeah.
get one
Yeah.
thing and it's like, oops.
You know,
Yeah.
Don, I do miss you coming to Chicago and just going out for cocktails and dinner.
Oh,
I
it's the
miss
best.
it, man. I miss it.
Yeah.
I did.
I started
What-
going out in the West Loop last week. All my new fellows, like co-fellows, we went out, and it's like
Ooh.
went to the Gus's
Oof.
Fried Chicken over there, right by like that
Yeesh.
like right across from Green Streets. I was like, God, I forget how awesome all these places are down here.
So Tommy, like, fingers crossed, man. It's not out of the realm of possibility that I would end up on a Chicago show and just like live there for like an entire season.
That'd be my dream.
Just rent an apartment in the West Loop, dude.
I'd probably be obese after that, but
Off work and let's go out.
Yeah,
Donnie,
I mean,
I
I'm
put on 20
literally,
pounds, but it'll be a
I'll-
blast.
I'll literally be there. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
Yeah,
kidding
that-
me?
I mean,
This all-
nothing would be better than that.
Yeah, it'd be the greatest. This was fun.
Jared.
Guys, I had fun. I had fun chatting with you. I don't know that this was a podcast as much as it was just us talking.
Yeah.
and catching
You know,
up.
Catching
That's
up.
what I-
what can you do?
That's what I
Sometimes that's
want
what we
anyway.
do.
If
Some-
your doctors and veterinaries enjoy, I'll come back. you know?
Veterinaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we,
Veterinarians.
What we'll do next time is when we'll have Don when we'll have Don on for another guest spot here, we'll have like some other medical stuff prepared. Now that we've caught up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll have a little
don't
more
know.
stuff prepared
We
for
can ask
next
Don
time.
medical questions. Don can ask us medical questions. And we can
I
go
would.
over-
I would love to.
All right, let's end this.
Fucking
Don,
cut-
guys.
cut that part.
Yeah. Don, thanks for coming on. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. We'll link his socials in the description and everything.
Yeah.
And go see him when he's in a city near you.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
There you
Do
go.
that. Love you
Love
too,
you too.
Don.
Love you too, Don. Everybody, peace out. Follow Dr. Cellini at Dr. Cellini at DVM Cellini at Nothing Tommy because he has no presence on social media whatsoever.
I
And
like
subscribe
about you.
to
Yeah,
the channel.
let's see. There you go.
All right.
Have a good night.
And please subscribe to this channel. Good night.
So